Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Israel Sanchez, and if you like, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of my channel. So where am I right now in my life? That's what I'm asking myself, really. Where am I right now in my life? So right now in my life, I am a 26-year-old man, human, who is living with his mom, who is living with HIV, and who lives in the state of Michigan. I live in Michigan. And although this is just random, it's just like a flow of consciousness, I guess, as they say. And as I've lived here since I was 4 years old, and I was diagnosed with HIV here in Michigan, in the Midwest, supposedly, where there's a lot of, and there is, anti-conservative and all this, but also some of the most weird sexual desires that I've witnessed, on Grindr were pretty wild. Usually coming from men who say are not gay, who then go to God, who then go through the drug system, who go through drug addiction, blame the devil, blame everybody besides themselves, get praised in church, and then become leaders, and then make anti-LGBT laws against us. I've lived in Michigan since I was a toddler, and what Malcolm X says, and I want to get this first with the gay people and the God and this and the abomination. You know what's an abomination? Discrimination and racism is an abomination. There's a reason that gay people have been at the forefront of revolutionizing and changing the lives of Black and Latino men in the USA who have been put aside and never put into the light because of their homosexuality, that have freed and given you rights. So when there is, and machismo has also been a cause of massive hatred and confusion within the gay community themselves. So what Malcolm X has said before about the white liberal being more dangerous than the conservative white conservative, I can see true in this state and see true in the Midwest. There are a lot of alignments that Democrats have with people who are white Democrats who are now in alignment with Black and brown Democrats because of the in-depthness of what they're trying to teach that doesn't align with reality of what the white Democrats want to teach. And it seems to me that as much, and the conservatives are wrong too. And this is the thing, both of those parties are wrong. They're wrong, and they aren't doing anything to benefit the people besides causing, and this is a root cause of white nationalism. It is about white nationalism. I grew up in Michigan, and I've experienced my sister, who I will not name, is brown. She is brown, and when she is in the sun a lot, she is dark brown. Me, on the other hand, I'm a little lighter. And I've witnessed here in this state, and within other Latinos who have been propagandized for so long that they become betrayers to their own people based on saying they're following legality, but when it comes to their money and when it comes to sustaining in capitalism, they are corrupt, and they do everything in their power to make sure that that is not known, whatever that may be, whether that may be joining the military, joining the police, or joining the healthcare system to be in a position of authority and power. There is a reason for that. And there are people who are kind and nice and try to do this and become embroiled within this corruption. So the health system here in this state, I believed, was trying to kill me. And they were misdiagnosing me because of my fear of what happened to me when I was assaulted. And I want to make this clear too. My mom accepts me. She is Latina. She is Mexicana, Americana. And she accepts me, and a lot of, and a lot of Mexicans do accept their children. And what Latin Americans believed in first was not Catholicism and was not Christianity. It was the many polytheistic religions that they followed that were their indigenous gods, who had their own way of living that had rituals based off the gods just as much as the Catholics and the Christians did. And I am mestizo, I am indigenous, I am Chicano, I am Native American, I'm indigenous to this land. There is ancestral blood in my veins. And the reason that they try to divide Black people who have indigenous blood in here through the mixing as well, and divide Latinos and do this, is so that, of course, they won't be united. So when they're speaking about Latin Americans who come here and become racist, because they've been propagandized a lot longer in Latin American countries. And a revolution of the minds is happening in all of Latin America, which doesn't change the insecurity and all these things in these countries due to United States American imperialism. Like right here, I live in this neighborhood that I told you before, where I live next to a sex offender who I believe lives my life better than me, as far as I know, because of my own dealings that I'm dealing with and my own fear and embarrassment that I'm dealing with. Here in the neighborhood where racist addicts, where I was in the rehab, and there was racist addicts in this facility who were just blaming the drug dealer. They had no sense of wanting to blame themselves. They go through this system, they play the system, they get their 6 months in through transitional living, and they hope that the Black or the Latino people don't get it. Here in this neighborhood where I live right now, where I used to live, where I went to middle school and high school, actually in this city, where we had to move here from a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. And when I first got here, I already knew these people because we used to live in this neighborhood. We moved back to a neighborhood where we used to live. And there is a mixture of Black and white people with the idea of white nationalism still in their head. So when they speak about Black people, about their own people, Black people about Black people, and Latino about Latinos, when they talk about the statistics, they ignore things that have been put in place by people who were not here first, people who were not on this land first, who hate the way that they had to grow up because of the fear and embarrassment of their own parents due to the system that has been put in place, and how we should feel about ourselves, how we should feel about our identities, how we should feel about who we are. And then they use the white gay man. White nationalists use the white gay man who, in a sense, they're better than the Latino gay man, and their gay families accept them a lot more than the Latino and the black man families, which creates a unification that doesn't unify Latino and black people. But as far as people who live within Latin America, their unification of their family is a lot stronger. But there is problems there due to the corruption that has happened there and due to the United States American imperialism. So right now in my life, I'm 26, an immigration problem. I'm not financially stable. I live in Michigan, which is a very politically diverse and politically charged state when it comes to white nationalism, because it's never spoken about. But almost all these outcomes have to do with white nationalism, because there are so many people who are undercover white nationalists in this state who simply don't say it because it doesn't benefit from the people who are voting for them. There is a drastic presentation here that you can see within the Midwest as well as to why Malcolm X said these things. And it's still relevant to this day. And that's why the party of the Democrats and the party of the Republicans no longer works. And as before, fascism rises in white nationalists, and socialism rises in indigenous and black and brown people, accepting the gay people, with gay people at the forefront as well with these people. So when you have people of different hate groups trying to reel you in from any side because they want money, power, and they believe they have a purpose on this land to do these things to people because, well, they're right and everybody else is wrong. When in reality, when we follow the teachings of indigenous, when we follow the teachings of the people who were here before, it is a very calm wisdom and it is a very unifying type of way of living. Although modernization is still very important. There are many Latinos who hate themselves, and I used to be one of them. I used to hate how Latinos used to go against themselves. I sure did. So then I would just be like, you know what? Go against yourself then. Whatever. I'll even help you go against yourself. And it was very frustrating because the respect that Mexicans and Latin Americans have and the disrespect that they go through that they don't understand because they can't understand the language just yet. A language that wasn't here before English, a language that wasn't here before Spanish, and a language that wasn't here before English and Spanish arrived here to the Americas, the North and South American continents. English and Spanish, and it was Spanish before English. Both of those languages didn't exist, right? There were many tribes and many languages here in the Americas. So when it calls themselves the United States of America, that is part of the Manifest Destiny, Manifesto doctrine that was put in place by white nationalists. So right now, there are hate groups that are just trying to pull people in left and right because it's a great time to play on people's fears and confusion and loneliness, to reel them into their hate groups, to gain a certain type of power. And as I said, I've lived here since I was a 4-year-old here in Michigan. This is where I grew up. Although I was born in California, which was all part of Mexico before. So it's a very interesting state and it's a very interesting dynamic. There is corruption across the nation and in this state. This state is important because of what has happened with white nationalism in the state and the way that it is ignored or it is put in place because we listen to the white Democrat, and it's fine. And socialism allows that for it to be fine within all of us. So this is more for Latinos to see as well. because we're having people who are not Latino, people who haven't lived in our culture, who don't know nothing about it, and even ourselves who know nothing about it because we weren't taught about it. But we need to teach ourselves, and we need to teach our own community, because we were not white. We were brown or black. We were brown. And as far as the superiority complex of any race is not good for anybody. That doesn't mean we're not strong. That doesn't mean we don't stand firm. And it doesn't mean we're not assertive about being factually correct about these North and South American continents. De norte y sur de América cuando viene a nuestra identidad. It is very important for us to never forget this history and to understand why there is this propaganda being fed. It has been fed for many years to Latin Americans so aggressively that when Coca-Cola was aggressively propagandizing Mexicans, Mexico became the number one drinker of Coca-Cola. Either one or two, but it was in a high rate of Coca-Cola for everything, and it caused diabetes. Indigenous DNA, it's more resistant to, it's more, fragile to things that are bad for us in our bodies. And we have to eat a certain type of way that has been taken away from us. And when there are 655 million Latin Americans in all 33 countries who have been oppressed and suppressed by USA imperialism, by the same Latinos who were meant to be there, who were Spaniards as well, who the root cause of it was white nationalism. So that is my rant, my stream of consciousness. And I'm going to continue to put out random life stuff about my life progression and about politics and about me and about my story and about my experience and about these things that make people believe that they're these things that they really are not, for the sake of reaching power, to compete with you or to put you down, for the sake of corruption and division and money. You're not crazy. A lot of people are not crazy. They just need someone to tell them and to let them know that you're not alone and you're not going through these things alone. And you're not the only one, in the most loving way that I could possibly express that to you. So thank you so much for watching my video to the end if you did. And if you didn't, that is just fine as well. But there are hate groups trying to inundate the Latin American community yet again, but this time it is different. This has happened before, but the revolution of minds is happening all across Latin America. And Mexico is one of the most imperfect and important examples of that. I am indigenous, I am mestizo, I am from Cora, and I will try to speak my native language, Nawa, here in the Americas as best as I can. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Be safe, be smart, believe in yourself, and don't let fear and embarrassment get in the way of your progression in life, so you can be successful and you can be in every part of the fabric of society. Mis hermanos y mis hermanas, please like and comment and subscribe. As I said, if you made it this far, thank you. If you didn't, it's just fine. You have a beautiful morning, afternoon, or night wherever you are. Hasta luego.